Hello and welcome to another interesting episode of the Swingtime Golf Show, where we talk the business of golf. Today we're coming to you from the 4 Point Sheraton in Cyber City, a dynamic business hub in Mauritius. Our guests today are also dynamic leaders within their own fields and are featured across a cross-section of topics from the hospitality industry through to banking. We talk a little bit about landscaping and of course golf. Robert has our first interesting guest today, so let's go and have a look and see what they're talking about.
Well, I'm with Mr. Guadamvia from the SBM. Mr. Guadamvia, welcome in this Swingtime Golf Show. Besides being the CEO of SBM, I can say that you are also a golfer. So when and how did you start playing golf?
Well, I've been playing golf now for about 20 years. How did I start? I used to, I used to work for somebody who was a very keen golfer, and I found it as a mechanism for me to, get out of office early on Saturdays, because he used to get out early, and he said that if you play golf, I don't have a problem, join me and let's go and play golf, and that's how I started.
And what do you enjoy most about playing golf, Mr. Guadamvia?
Well, I think, what I like about golf is, firstly, it's outdoors. Secondly, it's not that strenuous. Thirdly, I think it's a very different game because you have to be physically fit. There's no doubt about it. But there's a skill involved in playing the game, and there's also, it's a game of the mind.
Many business people describe golf as being character building.
Well, I think the game is one which allows you to be alone. It's a game which allows you to interact with people. It's a game which makes you, get to be a little more patient. It gives you an opportunity to basically reflect on what's happened during the course of the week, think about the future. It creates moments of creativity. It creates an opportunity to de-stress on occasions. So I think, overall, it depends how you look at it and how you make use of the opportunity.
How did you become a banker?
Oh, me? How did I become a banker? I had the fortune of, or the misfortune of going to business school. I did my MBA, and after my MBA, got a reasonably well-paying job working for a bank. Those days it was the Bank of America. And they gave me an opportunity for training in outside of India, and I thought that would be a pretty interesting opportunity for me to join them, and that's how I started as a banker, and I remained one for the last 30 years.
Well, bankers internationally have been known to play golf as a networking tool. Has it added value to your own business networking?
Well, networking is an art. And, so if you're good at networking or you're not so good at networking. Both golfers and non-golfers are good at networking. Golf does give you an opportunity to network, but any activity gives you an opportunity to network. People network in the gym, people network on the tennis court. So to that extent, I think it more depends on what you do. How has golf helped me? I think I made a lot of friends on the golf course. And I think, that's something which I really value. Yes, I have been able to get some business contacts and some networking which has resulted from the opportunities of meeting people and playing with them on the golf course. But I would say that I think people network. Some people are good at networking and some people are not. And the ones who are good at networking, whether they're golfers or not, are going to network well.
We know that SBM is one of offshore banking institution in Mauritius and has opened another branch in India, a known golfing destination. Does SBM have an interest in golf in Mauritius?
We, as an organization, like to sponsor sports because we believe that it helps promote our brand. And as such, we have not done anything for golf at this particular point in time. Golf is not that popular in Mauritius, and there is no reason that we could not consider it in time to come. But at this particular point in time, we do support sport, and we will continue to support sport in some form or the other.
Well, but does SBM have a specific marketing strategy for its own blue chip and platinum clientele that play golf, Mr. Guadamvia?
Well, at this particular point in time, we haven't built on anything. We are, refining and defining our private banking offering. And once we have it, and if we do see an opportunity to build build our closeness to our customers through this mechanism, we do. But we must understand that golf is an expensive game, and golf is only for people who can afford the game. And as a result of which, we have to fully understand our customer base and provide those activities which build on it. But yes, as far as the private banking customers are concerned, we would consider finding opportunities to interact with them, whether on the golf course or otherwise, to be able to improve our relationship with them. And if there are a significant amount of golfers, that would definitely be something we'd look at.
And how does SBM go about attracting offshore investors after investors have gone through the necessary protocols of setting up a business? We know that they do require a banker.
Well, as far as investors are concerned, we are the only Mauritian bank to have a franchise in India, and as a result of which we get a lot of business leads which come from that part of the from that setup we have. The second thing I think is that offshore management companies, lawyers, chartered accountancy firms are all associated when companies are being set up, and we maintain a close contact with them, and we try and close deals at a very early stage to be able to acquire such business.
Mr. Guadambia, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Et la suite de ce programme dans quelques instants après une page de pub.
Property and real estate, construction, finance, investment, retail and wholesale, human resource and recruitment, sports and leisure, tourism, education and hospitality. Market Info Direct. Our business is helping yours to succeed.
I'm very pleased to introduce our guests today from Top Turf. They include Mr. Paul Kirkby, the Managing Director of the Global Group, visiting from South Africa, and Mr. Jonty Kirkby, the Managing Director of Top Turf Mauritius. For our viewers who are not familiar with Landscaping Company, briefly describe what exactly Top Turf does.
Basically, Top Turf was started in 1977 in South Africa as an instant lawn producer. From there, we were recently after that, we were awarded the Gary Player construction of the golf course at Sun City. And after that, diversified into our 4 core products, which are sports turf, landscape construction, landscape maintenance, and irrigation. So in a nutshell, Top Turf can be seen as a green asset solution to the clients. And what we would do, we'd take a project from conception right the way to the realization of the finished product and maintain it going further to ensure that the design integrity of the whole project is adhered to.
Since its establishment in 1977 and operating throughout Southern Africa, what brought Top Turf to Mauritius?
Top Turf has always had an appetite for large projects and taking on new challenges. And with that, Sun International spoke to us about 14 years ago to come through to Mauritius and do the Tours Rock Hotel. We came over as a partnership with Sun International and basically been in Mauritius for the last 14 years and doing landscaping here.
In what other countries does Top Turf operate in?
Top Turf, we have permanent operations in 6 countries, being South Africa, Mauritius, Swaziland, Zambia, Botswana and Lesotho. And we also have the ability to operate remotely, and some of the countries we've operated in is Angola, Morocco, Maldives and in the Seychelles.
The Top Turf Group was responsible for building and continues to maintain the internationally renowned Gary Player golf course in South Africa. What are the logistics involved with such a mammoth undertaking?
Well, I think the thing that's the most important is having the right team in the right place. I don't think you can do any undertaking like that without having a key, passionate group of people. And we're very fortunate at Sun City to have that. Our head superintendent, David Steddle, does an amazing job. And I think if you take the logistics of actually hosting the NGC tournament, the Nedbank Golf Challenge, everything you do through the year has to be geared towards the success of the tournament, because the whole golfing world's eyes are on that tournament for the first week of December every year. And so there is a permanent team that is allocated to Sun City to make sure that the planning and the implementation for the whole year, they don't just go prior to the tournament and leave. There is a permanently based team there. From our side, we start 16 weeks before the NGC tournament, and everything from the 16 weeks to the start of the tournament is geared towards making sure that the tournament is successful.
Does Top Turf have any involvement in the golfing industry here in Mauritius?
Yes, we do. We're very happy to say that we've completed the construction on the Anahita golf course, which was a huge challenge, and we're very proud of the product that we did deliver there. We also maintain the Gary Player design course at Saint Joran, which we've done since 1999. And at the moment, in a consulting capacity, we are working with the Beachcomber Group for the up-and-coming golf course that's due to be built in Les Salines.
Mauritius, being a volcanic island, presents some unique issues when building a golf course here. One is to take into consideration de-rocking the soil and also keeping in mind macro drainage. How does Top Turf apply its golf expertise in building a golf course here?
I think it's important to remember that every golf course is unique. You don't only have rock in Mauritius. If you take the Beachcomber course down at Paradis, that's a sand-based course. If you take Chateau du Golf, which is in the south of the island, there's quite a lot of clay over there. And then obviously at Anahita was on the opposite extreme, where it was almost pure rock. So I think what Top Turf can bring to the party is we have worked on a lot of golf courses in a lot of countries around the world. And being able to remember how we solve problems on other golf courses, we can bring that experience to Mauritius and help find a solution to the specific conditions of a course that we're building.
With Mauritius positioning itself as a premier golfing destination and with a few more golf courses in the pipeline, what are the construction costs and the subsequent maintenance costs that investors should be aware of?
Well, I think that's like asking how long is a piece of string, because it depends on where you're pitching your golf course. If you want to build a USGA specified golf course, it's going to be a lot more expensive than if you're building a resort-based holiday makers type of course. So the developers and the golf course construction people need to choose where they're going to pitch it. And then from there, I think choosing a partner to build it with you, not for you, is very important. You have to take into consideration that it's millions and millions of dollars, not necessarily repeat.
Golf courses by its nature have received a negative feedback by its environmental impact on natural surroundings. Can you describe to us how that operates more in Mauritius?
Well, traditionally golf courses, the reason they have a bad rap is because you can take potentially an area that has a large diversity of plant vegetation on it. You wipe it clean and you put one specific type of grass down. So in terms of species diversity, golf courses can get quite a bad rap. I also think that the amount of water that golf courses do use, and it can be up to 1 million litres of water a day, I think that also has a role to play in people giving golf courses a bad rap. But in Mauritius, I think we have a unique opportunity in taking a piece of land in Mauritius, which is traditionally sugarcane, and we know that Mauritius's natural vegetation has been 98% wiped out since it was inhabited from the 1400s. So you can take a piece of land and you can actually increase species diversity in Mauritius.
Environmental and green issues have become very popular within the marketing and business consciousness. What is Top Turf's involvement and take on that?
Yes, we obviously have. I think the big buzzword at the moment is carbon footprinting, and all companies need to make sure, and individuals, that their carbon footprint is greatly reduced. The more carbon we pump into the atmosphere, the higher the atmospheric temperature is going to be, and global warming is going to be accelerated. So whether it's reducing the fuel that we use in the equipment to mow the golf course, or whether it's just using less electricity, whether it's putting rain sensors on the golf course to make sure that we don't overwater and overuse the Earth's resources that way, I think the carbon footprinting model is going to be very, very important going forward, and all companies need, and even individuals and houses, everybody needs to do what they can to reduce their carbon footprint on the planet. And who knows, in 200 years' time we might not be able to build golf courses.
Top Turf endeavours to design sustainable landscapes and ecosystems with its projects. Tell us more about this.
I think when you implement a landscape or in a resort garden, you've got to implement it with the long-term vision, and that comes down to choosing the right species of plant, speccing the different types of grass. Certain species are more drought tolerant than others and has an impact on the water that you would put down. So we would work in conjunction with the architect and chat to them, and where possible use endemic species to Mauritius, reducing your maintenance costs, reducing your labor input, and actually having a more user-friendly garden that in the end maintains itself and kind of can look after itself.
I think also one of the things that our company certainly has an advantage over is that we do operate in 6 or 7 different countries at any one time. And the exposure that we get to different ways of doing things, I think changing chemical fertilizers to organic fertilizers. We have trials going on at the moment in Zambia, funnily enough, where we're using earthworms to produce an organic fertilizer. And all of these different technologies that we accumulate within the group are used to the advantage of every different division that we have. So John T, as the MD of Mauritius, has access to the technology that we're developing in Zambia. And I think that's a very important thing for us to be able to share that information amongst ourselves.
As a group, we don't operate in isolation. We get together on a regular basis and share ideas and have a forum where we can discuss things. So if I've got a problem, you can quickly bring it up and say, you know, I'm experiencing this problem, and someone from the Free States or the Cape or operating in Zambia or Lesotho might say, well, I've experienced this and we've done this and it's helped, or this is the best environmental way to get around this problem. And you basically have the resources of a whole company and different countries coming to you, where instead of operating in isolation and just looking at the problem from a Mauritius point of view or a South African point of view.
Thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining us. That was Mr. Paul Kirkby and Mr. John T. Kirkby from Top Turf. We'll be returning with another guest right after our commercial break.
With our finger on the pulse of activity throughout our business sectors, we at Market Info Direct are leaders in dominating the business environment. As specialists, we facilitate all aspects of these sectors with a high standard of professional service. One key, one solution. Market Info Direct. Our business is helping yours to succeed.
La suite de ce magazine Swingtime Golf Show, je suis avec Vivian Armance, qui est moniteur de golf à l'hôtel Saint-Gérand. Vivian, parlez-nous de vos débuts dans le golf.
C'est une longue histoire, brièvement je vais vous raconter. J'ai travaillé au Saint-Gérand, ça fait 25 ans déjà. J'ai commencé comme barman. J'ai travaillé pendant 10 ans comme barman, et après je suis parti travailler au golf bar. Et c'est là que j'ai commencé à attraper les clubs de golf pour essayer de taper dans une balle. Et là, j'ai vu que, comme si j'étais assez doué pour ces jeux. Et après, j'ai pu travailler comme caddie master après, parce que le caddie master est parti. Et là, j'ai eu plus de temps à me consacrer au golf. Et après, on m'a envoyé en France, comme la compagnie a vu que je suis bien doué dedans. J'ai parti faire un mois en stage intensif en France, et quand je suis retourné, j'ai été passé professionnel.
Et Vivian, vous êtes passé professionnel. Comment s'est passé pour vous cette étape entre golfeur amateur et golfeur professionnel? Est-ce que ça a été facile de traverser cette étape?
Mais golfeur amateur, c'est autre chose. Et golfeur professionnel, ça c'est vraiment... Là, j'ai côtoyé pas mal des golfeurs professionnels quand je suis parti en France. Et même à Maurice, il y a pas mal de Français qui sont venus au Saint-Gérand pour donner des cours, et c'est avec eux que j'ai appris beaucoup. Et c'est vraiment un autre niveau.
Et quel est votre meilleur souvenir dans les tournois auxquels vous avez participé, que ce soit ici ou ailleurs?
À l'étranger, j'ai pas joué beaucoup de tournois, mais j'ai joué un peu plus à Maurice. Le tournoi vraiment que j'ai un très grand souvenir, c'était au Gymkhana. Là, j'ai joué comme amateur. Il y avait Tambi, on a fini en ex-aequo et on est parti jouer au Sedandef, et c'était lui le plus expériencé qui a gagné, et j'ai terminé en seconde position.
Alors Vivian, s'il y avait à faire une comparaison entre le golf d'il y a 15-20 ans et le golf qu'on connaît actuellement, le niveau de jeu, quel serait votre regard?
On va dire que le golf des 15-20 ans de cela, c'était que des vétérans qu'on voyait à la télé. Et maintenant, ça a changé, on voit beaucoup plus de jeunes, même dans les grands tournois, dans les Masters, il y a pas mal de jeunes, comme Tiger Woods, c'est le plus jeune qui a remporté les Masters.
Et justement, puisque vous parlez des jeunes, que pensez-vous de cette initiative de Swingtime avec le programme Adopt a Golfer?
Là, je vois que Swingtime prend une grande initiative pour les jeunes, pour pousser les jeunes dans ces jeux. Mais je pense que dans l'avenir, ça va continuer, et on va avoir encore plus de jeunes qui sont intéressés dans les jeux.
Alors, Adopt a Golfer, vous le dites, Vivian, belle initiative de Swingtime, mais sinon, quels seraient les conseils que vous donneriez aux jeunes qui veulent débuter dans cette discipline?
Normalement, il y a beaucoup de jeunes qui sont intéressés. Le problème, c'est que l'accessibilité. Ils n'ont pas accès comme si dans tous les golfs. Moi, ce que je demanderais au gouvernement dans le futur, c'est de faire un golf public. Comme ça, on va pouvoir dénicher beaucoup de jeunes talents.
Alors Vivian, avant de terminer, peut-être un mot sur votre vision de cette discipline. Que faire justement pour que le golf se développe davantage à Maurice?
Moi, je vois que maintenant, là, il commence à donner beaucoup d'intérêt au golf. Il commence à faire Maurice devenir une destination golfique. Ça, c'est très bien. Et même, ils envisagent maintenant, dans le futur, de faire venir des Français qui vont faire les ratings des terrains de golf. Et là, ça, c'est très intéressant. Et moi, je demanderais comme si on a beaucoup plus de sponsors pour pousser beaucoup plus de joueurs dans ce domaine de golf.
En tout cas, merci Vivian Ramance d'être passé sur le plateau de Swingtime Golf Show. On vous remercie encore une fois. Et la suite du programme avec Rob Grief.
I'm speaking to Ben McCarron, the Complex Director of Training at the Starwood Hotel Groups. I'll be asking him some questions about the hospitality and training industry here. The hospitality industry in Mauritius is synonymous with delivering the highest form of service. Describe to us the training program the Starwood Hotel Group employs to ensure the very best is delivered in your hotels.
With any training that you do, for it to be effective, it really depends on the base that you're working with. And that base is determined pretty much by the attitude of the people in the room, or the people on the job, or the people on the floor. And we find here in Mauritius that we have a fantastic base to work with, because culturally the Mauritian people love to work in hospitality. They love to serve, they love to exceed expectations, and they love to delight people.
Hotels and resorts are under great pressure with the after effects of the global economic crisis, and service excellence is a vital component of ensuring the repeat visits of guests. How is the high level of service delivered in your hotels and maintained?
It was a tough year, and there's no doubting it was a tough year. One of the key strategies that Starwood undertook was to ensure that we maintained and kept our current workforce. And this was really one of the pillars that helped us drive forward for our service levels. Simply being the training that we delivered pre-opening to the hotels and we were maintaining along the way allowed us to deliver that training constantly. Another initiative that we took was the Mauritian government was foresighted in its approach, and they actually offered some financial support for businesses like hotels to up the training for their people, to maintain employment for that, and we took full advantage of that.
Mauritians are sought after, particularly by cruise liners, after completing training programs such as yours. How do you retain staff after investing time and money in their training?
Look, it's a fact of life that people will move on and they will change careers and they will change employers. We encourage people to grow and we steer and guide our pathways around this as well. And we accept the fact that people will move on. In fact, we feel it is really a form of flattery because it means that we develop and train good people that other employers want. However, we do know that for two reasons. One, when they go out there, they will talk about Starwood and the development they undertook. And secondly, we may very well see those people back again, and we've got lots of stories of people who've returned to the Starwood family.
Do changes in trends in the hospitality industry affect your training programs and the kind of service that you endeavour to deliver?
That's a very good question, and very much so. We find that our guests are becoming more educated, or not to say they weren't before, but they're probably becoming more aware of certain things, and these are what to expect, but also they're probably more sensitive to cultural issues and also to environmental issues. So we've geared some of our training to address these issues and ensure, not issues, more challenges, so that our guests can experience the real Mauritius when they come here.
Does the Starwood Group have a particular philosophy when it comes to training its staff?
We certainly do. We certainly do. Our key strategy or our key message is a thing called the journey, and that is supported by what they call 5 cornerstones or pillars that hold this up. And one of those key cornerstones is called Win with Talent.
Okay. What does that mean?
What that means is basically is we value our people and we place them at the first foremost part of our business. the development and nurture of those talented people within our organisation will help us lead the way and exceed those expectations of our guests.
As a specialised field within the human resources industry, are there any difficulties or logistics that you have to contend with?
Yes, there are. It's not so much issues. We see them probably as more challenges. My personal philosophy is that training and HR work side by side and need to deliver a seamless service. Simply put, HR identify and recruit the talent, and training's responsibility is to train and retain that talent and deliver them a career pathway through their life.
For a guest who's never visited a hotel within the Starwood Group, what can they expect upon their first visit?
Simply put, to exceed their expectations.
I suppose that's where all your training would come into play then.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'd like to thank our guest, Mr. Ben McGarren, for giving us some insight into training within the hospitality industry. And thank you viewers again for joining us with the Swingtime Golf Show, where we talk the business of golf. I'd also like to thank our host, the 4 Point Sheraton, for a wonderful venue today. And don't forget to tune in to our Dr. Golfer Golf Tip Show, where we help you further your skills in the sport of golf.